So what if you could turn around the vast majority of chronic disease with just 3 simple changes to what you eat? That's the really bold idea from Dr. Ken Berry, a family doc who thinks we've made health way too complicated. Okay, so let's dig into his health pyramid, and we're going to build it from the ground up, starting with the foundation and working our way to the advanced tools in his toolbox.
And this is the claim that really gets your attention. Dr. Berry isn't talking about a small tweak here. He's talking about a massive shift that could completely change medicine as we know it. The stakes, in his mind, are just that high. So what are these 3 things?
All right, here's the game plan. We're going to start with that absolute foundation, Dr. Berry's 3-step fix. Then we'll add the lifestyle pillars that hold everything up. After that, we'll get into what happens when the basics just aren't cutting it, and we'll open up his advanced toolbox. And we'll wrap it all up with a final thought on the right mindset for all of this. Okay, let's start at the base of that pyramid. According to Dr. Berry, these next 3 steps aren't just, some friendly suggestions. He sees them as the non-negotiable starting line that could fix the health issues for about 80% of us.
And there they are. Simple, right? No added sugar, no grains, and no industrial seed oils. It sounds easy enough, but as you know, the devil's always in the details.
So here's the thing with step 1. It's not just about ditching the soda and candy. That's the easy part. Dr. Berry really focuses on what he calls health-washed products, like fruit juice. Even if it's organic, fresh-squeezed orange juice, his view is that it's basically just a glass of sugar water. It's not something humans are meant to consume in those quantities.
Next up, the grains. This builds on that same idea of getting rid of stuff that doesn't serve you. Dr. Berry calls the big 4. That's wheat, rice, oats, and corn. He calls them commodities or poverty foods. He argues they have 0 nutritional value that you can't get from better sources, and they just don't have a place in a diet that's trying to optimize your health.
And the final piece of the foundation is kicking out those vegetable seed oils. You know the ones: canola, corn, soybean, safflower, all of them. The recommendation is to swap them out for stable animal fats. We're talking butter, beef tallow, even bacon grease. The kinds of fats that have been a staple in the human diet for, forever.
All right, so once you've got that dietary foundation totally locked in, the next layer of the pyramid, it isn't about food at all. It's about all the other lifestyle choices that really support and even amplify the effects of eating a proper human diet.
So this layer, it starts with getting some sun in the morning, even on a cloudy day, just to set your body's internal clock. It means making a full 8 hours of sleep in a pitch-black room a top priority. And this one's big. It means finding actual hobbies to replace what he calls the modern addiction of chewing and scrolling. And finally, it's about changing the way you actually think about stress. And this quote right here, it just nails his point on stress. Instead of trying to get rid of stress, which, let's be real, is impossible, he pushes for a more stoic approach. It's about reframing it. You see adversity not as a roadblock, but as a stepping stone. You're basically training your mind to see a challenge as a chance to get stronger, not as a disaster.
Okay, so you've done it. You cut out the big 3, you're getting sunlight, sleeping like a baby, and managing stress. But what if you're still not getting the results you want? This is where things get interesting. This is for the folks who've hit that dreaded plateau.
See, Dr. Berry estimates that for about 20% of people, diet and lifestyle by themselves might not be enough to get them all the way across the finish line. And this isn't about failure. It's just about recognizing that for some of us, there might be deeper issues going on.
So, if you're out there thinking, yep, that's me, I've done everything and I am just stuck, then this next part is for you. We are now climbing to the very top of the pyramid, the advanced toolbox. Now, this is super important. These are not starting points. These are strategic, very specific tools that you'd use with a doctor who knows what they're doing. They're for people who have already mastered the basics but are still stalled.
First up, the big one. GLP-1 agonists like Ozempic. Dr. Berry sees a very specific, very narrow role for them. We're talking short-term, low-dose use just to quiet that intense food noise that can sabotage everything for some people. The goal is not to replace diet, but to give you a temporary window of calm so you can build new, healthy habits that will actually stick.
Okay, from medication to a mental tool. Next in the toolbox is something he calls a fat fast, or a butter challenge. Now, this isn't about not eating for days. It's a quick, short-term diagnostic tool where you eat nothing but pure fat for a day to learn a really important lesson about your own body.
And that lesson, it all comes down to this one simple, kind of weird question.
When you think you're hungry, you ask yourself, am I hungry enough to eat a spoonful of plain butter? If the answer is no, then what you're feeling, it's probably not real physical hunger. It's likely boredom or stress or just a craving. It's an incredibly powerful way to call your own bluff.
So what about tracking calories or macros? Well, for beginners, Dr. Berry says it's a waste of time. Your focus should be on food quality, period. But for someone who's experienced and has been stuck for months, tracking can be an amazing diagnostic tool. It might show you hidden carbs in a so-called keto bar, or, and this is apparently pretty common, it might reveal that someone, especially women over 50, is actually chronically under-eating protein and fat.
And finally, hormones. If that stall just won't budge, a full hormone panel is the next step. But what's really interesting here is Dr. Berry's point that your symptoms are just as important as your lab numbers. If you have every single symptom of low thyroid, but your labs look normal-ish, he says you should find a doctor who's willing to do a 90-day trial of something like desiccated thyroid or bioidentical hormones just to see if it makes a difference.
So as we bring all these layers together, from that simple dietary foundation all the way up to these really specific tools, we get to the very heart of Dr. Berry's whole philosophy.
And this quote, it just says it all, doesn't it? The goal isn't to be perfect or to follow some rigid dogma. It's not about being a militant health warrior. It's about being pragmatic. It's about recognizing that life is messy and people just need real, logical solutions that work, not judgment.
Which brings us to the big takeaway here. Build your health on that solid foundation of what you eat and what you avoid. Get those lifestyle pillars in place. But if you're still struggling, don't be afraid to open up that advanced toolbox and use those tools strategically, intelligently, and without an ounce of guilt. And that just leaves us with one final question for you to think about. Whether it's a foundational principle that you've kind of let slide, or maybe an advanced tool that you've been a little afraid to explore. Which tool in your own health toolbox have you been ignoring?